All right, we are live. Let me just get this tweeted out here. Cool. All right. Hope everybody had a great weekend and is having a blessed and good rest of your Sunday. So today is performance issue detected in Thinkorswim. Imagine that on my awesome computer. But here we go. So just kind of an update. So SPX, right? We've been kind of covering this, a little bit each day, but 2018, kind of went through this whole channel here. Finally broke down after 1, 2, 3 attempts here. Actually, the 4th attempt finally failed, pretty much. And so now we're just trying to figure out what kind of wave count we've got going on. So we had from the double top highs here, we had wave 1 down, and then ABC2. And it looked like we put in a wave 3 here, and it looked like then, after that we'd be getting a wave 4 correction. So the interesting thing, though, is that wave 4, right, when we did our, let me remove this, that Fibonacci. Let's add this one here. When we did our Fibonacci, where is this? There-ish. Anyway, pretty much here. When we did our Fibonacci course, or Fibonacci review in the Elliott wave last week, we saw that wave 4 typically ends anywhere between 23.6% and 38.2%. It's typical for wave 4. But this wave 4 is kind of extended a little bit higher, right? So than a normal wave 4. Doesn't mean it's not a wave 4. We just haven't had confirmation yet because it won't it won't go down, right? So this huge rally is not necessarily coincidental, right? So these pitchforks are very valuable. Andrew's pitchfork, we've seen, this larger pitchfork has shown us that, basically right at this break here was a break through the median line, right? And so those median line breaks are, pretty powerful. And so what that did is it sent it, pretty much plummeting down to the pitchfork support line, right? And then it, then it pivoted and came back up. So it kind of makes, and then it's right back at the median line again. So it's all kind of playing out, pretty well within the pitchfork, right? So obviously, we've been going over this a lot, and it's clearly a valuable tool, especially when you can incorporate, your median line with other significant points of interest. Like here you can see this median line. Obviously these are the biggest pivots of 2018, so that's in itself is significant, but the median line went through kind of an interesting kind of move here, right? So like up and around that median line where it eventually kind of came up, right? So then we also drew a reaction line there. We had a reaction line here that kind of corresponded with this very break right here. And so when you put all that stuff together, we see ourselves going down and then bouncing off the pitchfork support and now back at the median line. So the question really is, all right, what's next, right? And so this has been a bigger move than I expected. I would have expected this, that looked like a wave 3. I would have expected a wave 4 here where that was pivoting here. That seemed to make the most sense, and then we were going to see a further downside, maybe a 5th wave down, and then some sort of ABC correction, and then maybe some more down moves. So really when we're looking at this, we're like, okay, what's it going to do next? Well, wave 4 invalidates, and it's holding, it's been, the bears have been defending that 2600 level pretty well, but once it gets over that, right, this wave 4 is no longer valid if it crosses through wave 1, right? So it's a rule breaker in Elliott wave, right? We talked about that last week. And so so this week, if it ends up pushing itself up and getting past there, then this is no longer a wave 4, it's something else, right? And we just have to figure out what it is. And so, is it worth starting a new impulsive move to the upside? Is this, is this a wave 1, 2, and this is going to be a 1, 2 of a much larger 3 down? And so we kind of have to keep that in mind as a possibility. So we'll see. Or it could be done, right? It could have hit this median line and been done because now futures are, the Dow futures are already down almost 200. S&P's down, Nasdaq is down pretty good. S&P's already down double digits. So I don't know, it's looking pretty weak. So we'll see. So this might be it, right? So we'll see if that pivots and we head down, and that's the end of the wave 4. And then we finish wave 5, and then maybe it'll be pretty conservative, and wave 5 will end here. Kind of this 2200 level. Maybe it'll undershoot that and it'll consolidate a little bit, ABC, and then we'll see. We'll see what goes on. We got earnings season we're coming into, and a lot of things can happen. So, and there's tons of geopolitical stuff too. So anything really could happen over the next couple weeks and couple months. So, but it'd be definitely interesting to see how it all plays out. So all we can do, the best we can do at this point, is keep up to date with our our evaluations of it, and then look for intraday setups if you're day trading that are the most consistent for you, and then if you're swing trading like we're trying to do for the $500 to $50,000 challenge, just get the best entries you can, and then and then expect it to work out right the best you can. So and then limit losses. So we're doing that so far, and it's I think we got a few winners that we're working on. So we got Starbucks, we got Nike. So both of them could end up working out pretty well. So those are the ones that are on the docket, and and more to come. So far so good. So today I kind of wanted to just go over a couple things. Well, primarily all I want to do is just Clayton gave a good recommendation just to kind of strip a chart out and kind of go from scratch on kind of what we think is going on. In fact, let me remove these indicators too. So we move. I thought I deleted all that. Isn't that just remove all studies? Oh, I think you do it from like I did it from another. I did it on the candlestick ones. So basically, so NVDA, right? So let's take a look at NVDA. And let me remove these two. Remove all studies. Hope I remember what they were. No, just kidding. So basically, what I want to do is show, basically how I look at a chart, and just kind of from scratch, and just to kind of get an idea, evaluating just technical wise, like kind of what's going on. So what do you guys see when I post the FANG stocks every night? I always start with a monthly chart. Right, because the monthly chart, at least in Thinkorswim, is pretty much one of the biggest you can go. I hear you can add quarterly and yearly in here, and that would be good to look at, to kind of see what's happening, in the very, very long term. But for the most part, doing the monthlies is good. And so candlestick wise, right, we can see, you can clearly see, NVIDIA had a good run up, and it was just like everything else in tech was running up really, really high, and then it put in a kind of a hangman top here, right? So Northern Doji, type bar. And then so this month here in October, it looked like it was going to keep going, right? Continue this trend up, and it pushed up, right? And then failed, right? And so, these are trading techniques that you can use off of any candlestick bar, right? So you could have tried to trade it here from the upside. You'd have had 285, 287, made 7 points there, right? And then as it came back in, this is, a possibility you could short right here, right? That's a key level to short. Another level here is, where you close and where you open. Those are key levels. It got through those. Then the last level to short is the tail here, right? And so could have shorted that off of the monthly. So that's why I always look at the monthly bars, because these are much bigger moves than your daily bars, right? So this whole bar right here, is 26 points, 43 points, 23 points, right? So when these break, when they're actionable and something happens, you can make money that way. I mean, here you had this, kind of, inverted hammer, and then, once it broke this to the upside, it was 256, and took that all the way up to 2, right? And so anyway, so NVIDIA going down, 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 and so we kind of come up to this month, right? First month of 2019. And so what we're seeing is, after 3, pretty big down months, we've got an inside month working, right? So we got, half a month left, and a green month. And so far, right? And it's inside. So if it stays inside, the next month we'll look to see if it'll break that to the upside, which could be strong and take us potentially up to here, back to 174, or a break to the downside, which could take us even lower, right to these prior lows, maybe this 95 low. And I only have, you can go back further, you get the idea though. Obviously it's going to be lower. So anyway, so this is very important to watch and keep an eye on, right? And if it ends up, crashing or something like that, you want to look, maybe the best place to short it is there at maybe a 124, 50 break or something like that. Could really give you a nice push to the downside. So that's why we look at the monthly first, right? Okay, so next, let's check out the weekly. And we'll add these drawings in a little bit. So I'm going to take all these out. So take off all the mess. And we can just look at pure price. Okay. And volume. Volume is key too. It's important. Okay, so then we go to the weekly, and we just kind of see what's been going on, right? We saw that we had the 3 months down, so it kind of matches up with the the weekly charts. And we kind of see what it did. It kind of hit that 124 50, right? And then it gave us kind of a little bit of a potential constructive bar right here, right? So this was a nice measured move bar actually in the weekly. So we had a big red down. we had a nice momentum shooting star here, and then a continuation to the downside, right? Then it consolidated, right? And now it was looking like trying to reverse, right? So the bulls clearly won here. It was green, in your opening and closing price. The bears tried to push it down, failed, and brought it back up here, right? So next you'd think is a little bit of a measured move there too. So, and that's where we finished last week. So, so we had a bullish week last week. So that's just trading candlesticks, right? And so, do I know where it's going after this? I don't. It's a spinning top here, but if it breaks us to the upside, it could potentially, go for that bar there. If it ends up failing, well, let's see if it could fail hard and then take this out again. But there's a nice little pattern there, right? And then you go to the daily, and then for some reason I thought when I did this, you go to the daily and just kind of see what's happening, right? So there was this bar right here, but look at the reversal bar. It was an inside bar. Right, inside day. Broke it to the upside, which would have been good for a day trade. Then it went inside again, and then it went outside and broke to the downside, and so you had this 180 reversal. We tweeted this a while ago. We had a 180 of a 180, right? Green day, huge red day, and then a huge green day. So you would expect after that to get some continuation here, right? Then it tried to push, went red, right? Then went inside, right? Then finally took it, went hammer, and then went up again, right? So that's just kind of stuff you like. So at this point, again, same thing. We don't really know. This is a little bit of an unclear bar, right? So we just had an inside day followed by outside hammer, and then it kind of comes up, right? So at this point, if it broke this high, I would at least expect it to take out 153, right? So at this point here, you start to get to the point where you can add alerts, or if you just you're watching the stock tomorrow, and you have multiple screens up with the multiple time frames, you can kind of just track and see what they're doing. But if you trade with your phone during the day, which I do a lot of times, like these alerts help and remind you, of what to look at. So I just put an alert up there to be like, look for 153, on spinning top break to the upside, right? Okay, so then you start building it that way, right? And then if it breaks to the downside, you add an alert there too. So spinning top breakdown. And then where does it go there? It could potentially just take out this level here at 139, right? Okay, and then next we go to the hourly, and I won't go any farther than that, right? And then we'll take a look. And then we'll look at the bar charts, and we'll just take a look at see if we can do some Elliott wave stuff on it. All right, so here's your hourly bar, right? And so without seeing the VWAP and all that stuff is fine. You just can kind of look and see what's happening. Well, it wasn't an inside bar, right? So all right, so we didn't have an inside bar. This is what we'd look maybe to trade at the open and anchor. We did see it really pushed up, and this was kind of a big move on Friday, which I missed. But I tweeted out, that it was a good potential. Well, what I tweeted out is saying, hey, I missed this, but you can see what happened. So this was an inside 60 here, and when it broke to the upside, it just really never looked back, right? So stop here, stop here, stop here, stop here. You never would have even stopped out on this trade. You would have probably closed it out at some point, but a pretty good move there from 145 up to 149, and option wise, would have been pretty good. So anyway, so we'll look at trading this at the open on Monday. Obviously we're gonna be gapping down, and we don't want to chase a gap, so we'll have to just see, and if any news comes out on it, we could look at a 15 orb on it, or you could look at a 15 orb anyway, but usually it's better with news or earnings. So anyway, so that's that. So now let's go to, I'm going to ignore this lower time frames. Let's go to big monthly chart, right? So amazing to see NVIDIA at $1.33, if you believe that, back in 2000, goodness gracious. So, but it worked its way up, right? So at this point, kind of hard to tell, to put a wave count on it. But let's say, if we zoom in a little bit, obviously it was uptrending for once it broke out, right? So, this is something where you can do. Where's this low? Low here is 124.46. Yeah. So this could be a wave 1, 2, potentially 3, 4 would be really super opposite of what you would expect of an Elliott wave, right? Normally wave 2 has the deeper retracement. That's why I would kind of almost think that, maybe this was your wave 1 from the all-time lows. And we're talking mega, real macro level here. 1, this is probably maybe a 2 because it was a really full retracement. And then what we had here was maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what I would say is, probably like a 3 here, 4, maybe 5, and this, and this could be 3, right? And this could be 4. So we don't quite know yet. But let's just go with that for, for argument's sake. So activate. So let's say that's 3, and this is 4. Here, we don't know if it's done yet, but we're just kind of theorizing here. And then let's just retrace that and see. Right. So that was a for the wave 3. Wave 4 came back. Let's do it here. Sorry. Wave 4 retraced like 61.8% at that point, right? So that's like hard to believe that it's a wave 4, in that case. So we can look at that as a I'm almost rather would say that was your wave 1 up, and this is wave 2, or the start of wave 2. Big term, macro type picture. So, but we'll see. That has yet to reveal itself, right? So, okay, big deal. Whatever. So, huge overtime. NVIDIA goes up big and is correcting, right? So, same on the weekly, obviously. So, let's analyze this, right? So, we don't know if it is a wave 4 down, right? Because it was about 0.618. We would expect then, right, to get a wave 5 up to come back to all-time highs, right? So again, difficult to say. Even if it were a wave 2, we would expect a wave 3 up too. So this type of corrective phase, we just have to evaluate that pattern at this point. So we look at the daily, right? And now, clearly it's correcting, right? So we would probably look to say like maybe this is like a wave 1 down, something like that. And then wave 2. So let me so this is like a wave 1. I want to remove this because it could be a zigzag, so we just don't know yet. But we'll look and wait. So 1, 2, and then maybe this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I would expect at this point maybe 3 to be down here. I mean, this thing's really correcting pretty hard. So because we want to count something sensible, some sort of 5 wave down. So overall, my expectation, right, would be this to continue this move down, right? And so what we'll do is look for potential there to confirm that, right? So we have 1, 2, so 3 we would expect to maybe extend like 1 point. Oh, let me do an extension. 1.618 here of that move. I mean, that would be pretty big, right? So, but it could, right? If this was like a 1, 2, 3, 4, I mean, it could, but maybe 100% or more, like a little bit bigger than your wave 1. So we could see it get down to this 102, 107 type level, right? To at least finish this impulsive wave down before correcting again, right? And so from there, we got to kind of have like a general idea of what's going on. I mean, it's not perfect because it does seem like a huge move that NVIDIA had, which from almost nothing, right? And so, but it would lead you to believe that this huge push up was a wave 3, right? Or I'm sorry, would be a wave 3 because it's so big. But like, I mean, I don't know. Can you see NVIDIA in the $1,000 range? I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, right? But it did have a huge move up. So, but either way, we go with what we have to work with. And so at this point, we work with this move down at this point. We know it's corrective. We know it's reversing the trend. We don't know if this is wave 3 or if this is wave 1 and this is wave 2. I'm more prone to say this is 1 up and this is 2 because of the 0.618 retracement. But at this point, we know that even if it were, right, we're gonna come up with some sort of correction at some point that's going to be more significant, right, because of the size of the move down. And so here, it's hard to say that. I just don't feel like this would be a wave 2. I would really feel like this is wave 1. That's more of like a wave 2. It's not a deep retracement, but 1, 2, or maybe A, B, C. This is the end of 2 right here, and then 1, 2. And this could be working on a large wave 3 down. So I mean, the more I look at it, the more it looks like it's trying to push its way down, right? So I would almost venture to guess that the wave 2 are here, A, B, C. Then it broke, right? So this is, 1, subwave 1. So let me label that. right? 2. If you guys hang in there with me, I'm gonna show you some cool stuff in a second. So 1, 2, right? And then it's working on a potential like a sub wave 3, right? So sorry. There. All right, so let's finish that up. And the idea is that we're saying, okay, so this is 1 ABC 2, 1 2 1 2, and then a real super push to the downside. So it's possible. So we're looking at this. The way we're looking at this wave count is bearish, right? So we're going to assume at some point it's gonna make another impulsive move to the downside. But we don't know if this correction is done yet, and it's probably not, unless this is ABC up, which is kind of sharp, right? So maybe it would be A, B, C, and then kind of go. So we're going to expect some sort of like chop, but eventually we're looking for it to continue this move to the downside. It just doesn't seem like this move is over with, right? Okay, so that's kind of there, and then we can remove some of our Fibonacci's if we want to. But in the meantime, okay, so we've got that. So we're going to look for maybe potential more correction to the upside and then another push down. Okay, so from here, we can throw a pitchfork in it, right? Or we can do trend lines. I mean, whatever your preference is, right? So, but I like the pitchfork just because of the incredible accuracy of it. So, so we'll look at the daily here and just see if anything, and it just helps on the bar chart sometimes to use these. So we'll look for some major pivots and just see kind of what matches up with what, right? And so remember when we do pitchforks, right, it goes pivot to pivot to pivot, but we also want that median line to kind of match with something significant, right? So if I bring it here, I mean, kind of nothing really. Here, nothing really. So I mean, that I don't really like how that looks, but maybe here. Let me see. This is the daily. Just really tough to kind of chopped its way up for a while. But if we go here to here, we want to catch a. That looks pretty good. That looks a little bit better. Yeah, it looks really good. So there, we have this median line here that stretches all the way through here, served as like some support here for these levels, right? So it broke through it. Here's support, pivot back up, and then major pivot, right? And so what that does is it gives us a little bit of more of a context to what's going on, with the stock. And so here, right? And what we like is that here it kind of bounced again. It pivoted again at this support line. So this pitchfork looks like it's going to work, a little more long-term, type thing. And also it came up and it pivoted here and kind of pivoted right here and acted, interesting around the median line and then gap down, right? And so this looks like it's going to work for us. So what we have here is that, like I said, there's probably going to be some sort of short-term correction. So what I would think is maybe NVIDIA super short-term is going to try to work its way up. If it doesn't just kind of finish its sub wave 2 here, it might try to push a little bit higher. At which point that might give us some more clarity, right? Because then this would be your 1, right? And then you could have like A, B, C would be more of like a corrective wave 2, a bigger retracement of that whole wave, and then you could see a bigger wave down. Right, but in the meantime, when you see a pivot at a median line or at a median line or a pivot at a support line or a resistance line, you look to get some follow through at least back to that median area, right? Now there is, some like TradingView and all that stuff can give you this sub-median line, in between there, and you can use that as well, and it looks like it's kind of reacting off of that middle area, but we just got to watch and see. So, okay, so that's that. So that gives us some context to the trade, and then what I'll do now is add some moving averages. We'll go back to the candlesticks. And we'll add some moving averages, Bollinger Band, cloud, and we'll kind of go with that. So I'll start with the moving averages. So I'm going to do studies. You can go add study, but I just like typing it in real quick, and I just type in simple for a simple moving average. And I usually add about like, I like the 5 MA, the 10 MA. I'll look at, I won't put like an 8 or a 21 on here, but those are pretty popular. But the 20 is usually built into the Bollinger Bands, so we'll use that. 50 and 200. And so I'll code those in real quick. And so I'll make a, this 5 for the 5 moving average, and I'll give it a, green. I'll make that 3. I think I like a brighter green. Doesn't really matter right here, but it's nice to be able to see it though. There. Okay, so we'll put that there. We'll do our 10. Make the 10 yellow. That's pretty good. A little bit lighter yellow. Make that size 3. And we'll make the 50. I like to make the 50 red. There. 3. Let's see if there's a brighter red. There. Okay. And then we'll do the 200-day. It's pretty key levels. Okay. So you get those. Add that. Alright. So there we go. We've got our moving averages. Okay. And so what that does is it gives you a little bit of context, right? So all we were looking at before is price, just kind of randomly in space, right? Price and volume. We got a little more context by looking at the bigger waves and putting some Fibonacci's in. I'm going to take the Fibonacci's out right now. So we kind of got an idea what we're looking at. We're looking maybe for a little short-term bounce before it corrects itself, right? And then we can look at these moving averages that give us a little bit of help, right? So the 50, and the 200 are really good, for on the daily for bounces and all that stuff. So when we were originally saying, hey, this looks like it could go up a little bit higher to finish this 3, well, maybe this 50 moving average is a good target, right? And so these are magnetized to those, right? And algorithms, work with those and all that stuff. So that could be a potential first target, right? Then I might want to try up here. Might want to try its 200-day if we can get through that median line. So now we've got a couple new context to work with, right? Okay. So next I'm going to add one more. I'm going to add another drawing. I'm going to add the Bollinger Bands. So I'm just going to go just all default stuff, right? Don't have to go crazy. So Bollinger Bands, I'll just make those all orange. Orange 3, orange 3, and then orange 3. Okay. All right. So now we've got our Bollinger Bands, and then I'll put that up real quick so you can see it. Okay. So they're pretty easy to tell. You don't have to recode them or anything like that because they come in 3 levels. This is your upper, right? They never do weird crossovers or anything like that. So upper, mid Bollinger Band, and lower. Okay. So all right. So that gives us some more context, right? So it got through the mid BB, right? Give you an inside day and the hammer and it's pushing up. So it might, first try this 152. If we can get through 152, then it should go to 160, right? So these give you targets and more context, right? And then we'll see how it behaves around these upper Bollinger Bands too, right? Because if it gets up here and it puts in a doji bar or something like that, or a inverted hammer or a shooting star bar, well then chances are that moves over, and we could probably label that our sub wave 3, and we'll expect 2, and then expect a push to the downside, right? So that gives us a little bit more context there. And then I think last one I want to add is the Ichimoku cloud. And so we'll do that. So I'll just type in Ichimoku, I-C-H-I. All right, so we'll add that in there. And that gives a little bit more context, right? And so the clouds, and we'll do a separate lesson on the clouds later. The clouds just kind of give you resistance and support kind of areas and potential targets. And so now we've got kind of full perspective here, of what we're looking at. So we know Elliott wave wise and price wise, we've had a big move up and then a big move down. And the question is how much force does it want to get higher? But what we have here are a lot of different resistance levels that are kind of lining up, right? So we have the middle area, the midline, which I didn't draw. That midline of the pitchfork is kind of like right here where we expected our wave 3 to end, which also kind of corresponds to the 50-day moving average, which also corresponds with resistance, cloud resistance here. Okay, so it's possible that NVDA will get a push up, but how much higher than 165 it can get before it decides to recorrect back down, to that next wave 3 down. We'll see. And don't forget we have earnings coming up in November. right? So that'll give us kind of that area to that way. So at that point, we have context, right? And then intraday, then you can go to your hourly time frame, and what I'll do is I'll just I'll load up a study. The old study, just pretend I loaded everything there, and then right. And the only thing I did different on this is it's got RSI on it, right? And I would have added that to those. So I forgot to add some indicators, but that you can add those too. So here, if you go, let me just make this a full-blown study. So we'll go daily. Okay, so now I've got implied volatility, so I could track that for options, right? And then I've got RSI here too. So you can see RSI is creeping up too, right? So it's pointing up. So that does imply that maybe we can get a little bit further move to the upside, and before it gets to maybe some oversold areas. So if we get up here to this resistance point and RSI, then see how I use these now is further confirmation, right? So if we get oversold and we're up here, we're just above the 50-day, and then we get like some sort of doji or topping tail, right? Then it's probably shorting time, right? Time to short, or at least look for shorts, right? And then then you can look intraday for those setups, and then here, right, we have we're showing some oversold conditions here, but we'll see how that handles intraday, but we know that can change. But then you look. So once we're up there, if we see like intraday, if we start to move under the hourly VWAP and we get a shooting star or something like that, that kind of gives you confirmation, like, hey, I'm shooting for this wave 3 down. I've got confirmation on the hourly bar. It looks like I've got resistance on the daily bar. And the weekly, maybe it came up here, and then you got a weekly shooting star too, right? And then it, let's say it took that month up a little bit, but then came back down, like early February or something like that, and then came to re-enter this range, which would be a strong reversal play, right? So you can kind of put all those together, and this way, when you are ready to trade, you've got all that in context, and and so when you have your multiple screens and your multiple monitors or whatever the case is, or if you have alerts set up, what's going on. You have more and more context, as what's happening, right? And then we can combine, the direction of the market, which way the market's going, the futures indicators, which they're going. It just gives you more strength to your trade. And so there we go. That building from straight price into adding indicators and how they all kind of tie together is today. And so that's all I got for today. So hopefully that's helpful. And at this point, if anybody has any questions about anything we looked at tonight or has any chart requests, feel free to type those in and we'll get through those. I'll try to do it as quickly as possible so we can all get some sleep and have a good trading day tomorrow. So yeah. All right. Prayer Kid, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Manoj, how are you? Harvey, good to see you, as always. Justin, what's up? Matt, how's it going? Welcome. Merritt, good evening. Clayton, what's going on? Yeah, great weekend. Yeah, tons of studying, absolutely. Brandon, yeah, good evening. Kevin, what's up? Kyle, what's going on, my friend? Rookie Trader, what's up? Do you see, how do you see McDonald's now? Okay, so McDonald's, now that we got everything pulled up here, for the most part. I kind of want to load. All right, so McDonald's, I'm still really confident in the setup that we had on McDonald's right now. Right now, I don't have a position in it, right? And what I want to show you is, all right, we've talked about this, right? So I'm, almost convinced that this 190.88 was the end of wave 5. And why do I think that? Because wave 4, right? Triangles only occur in wave 4 or B. And there was this, super triangle here for wave 4. So it's pretty clear that this was wave 4. And what comes after wave 4? Wave 5, right? No tricks there, right? So, I mean, you can count this kind of any number of ways, but it could have been 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, 4, and then 5 top. So I really think this is wave 5, right? So at this point, it corrected, right? And so we know the only corrective structure, which we learned about in the Elliott wave class, is zigzag, right? That starts with a 5. And this is very clearly a 1, 2, right? 3, 4, 5. I mean, that is definitely a 5-wave corrective pattern. So we know we're in a zigzag, right? It has to be. So the real trick is, and then again, I went long here, right? When we filled this gap, and this is before the 50K challenge, right? We talked about this the other day. I went long here because I was like, okay, it'd probably fill the gap and move up, and it did. Right, and so that's good. And now the trick is here, and when we started the 50K challenge, that's why this was fresh on my mind. I was like, okay, well, eventually, right, this ABC correction, so 5, this has to be a 3-wave move up, and then we'll get another nice zigzag move down, right? And so it was all about timing. So when I looked at this, it looked pretty good. Right, it looked like we had a 5-3-5, a zigzag up, right? And then we hit what looked like a wave 5 right here, and then we started coming down, and I was like, okay, this is good. We're good. It's starting, right? And so that's why I took the position on it. And now, stopped us out. We got chopped up a little bit, which hurt premium, and then it stopped us out here, at the level, the 182.30. And then, interestingly enough, it's I took this channel, and anytime you do a A-B zigzag, you take it from your A top to what your B was, and you channel it, right? But right now, it's breaking out of that channel. And so which is kind of give it more of a bullish look to it, right? Because it even finished with a green bar there. And so at this point, I have to assume, because I'm out of the trade, I have to assume it's either, it could either just really puke, and I drew like some weird potential corrective pattern, here it could have been like this was the, it's work like as if it's working its way down, right? So I was trying to be like, okay, well, this is 1, and then ABC 2, and then it's 1 2. It's like literally that the high there was 82.30, and then it hit 82.40. So that can't be a wave 2, right? Because it took that one out. All right, well, maybe this was 5, right? And this is so it gets really this is really starting to get really complicated here, and so what I did is, hands off. Let's see what it does, right? It's got earnings coming up, so if it has like a big, super gap down, I might even look to, do an entry if there's, some space. So I'd look at that, right, and see if it does give you a big wave down, then maybe this corrective pattern is done, and then it's going to start its, if it's impulsive 5-wave move down to at least most likely mirror that wave A. So this wave C should be it, right? And so when we do a wave 2, I just wanted to mention we want to trade waves 3, waves 5, and wave C. Those are the best ones to trade because you get your most movement out of it, right? And they're almost the easiest to identify. And so, but sometimes you get tricked up, and for instance, it didn't do it here. So if I got messed up and it turns out this crazy wave count is wrong, then maybe this is 1, 2, maybe 3, 4, and we're going to see like a 5th push up here, right? And then and then maybe it ABCs a little bit, and or something like that. But it's possible, right? So that this count was just wrong. Everything is right, in terms of the count, but the continuation count, we might still have some more room, right? Because zigzags, the B pattern can still be a zigzag, an ABC, and then another zigzag. So it could go up, but the guarantee is, well, almost it's a rule. And if the rule breaks, then the whole count is wrong. But I'm very confident about this count. Is that wave B of a zigzag is never going to overtake the start of wave A. So if this thing does push up, right, and even if it chops around and gaps up on earnings or something like that, it still should not take out this 190.88. At which point, at that point, really close to here, and then gives us a pivot to the downside, then it's a super short, and could go, could be a real big money maker there. So that's kind of my take on McDonald's right now. Justin, Amazon. Nice. Yeah, Amazon could really get destroyed. It was you're looking at the 1,300 puts. It could get destroyed. This news is no joke. If if it turns out the owner of Amazon or the founder of Amazon has been, like all deviant and stuff. That's just not the leadership you want in your company, right? And so we saw it happen to Wynn Resorts and lots of other, Me Too type organizations, blah blah blah. It's just not good, and so that could really affect the stock, right? Now, Amazon is a super company. It's going to be around for a very long time, but it doesn't mean it's not going to go back to being $100 stock, right? So right now, we had a huge consolidation pattern right here, which to me is like a wave 4, right? Because wave 4s are triangles. So I think it's possible that this comes down, maybe retests like this 50 moving average or the low end of this cloud, and then hopefully somebody, goodness gracious, puts out a press release and says like these allegations or blah blah blah, So, but it doesn't really fit the tune really well when the guy just announced his divorce, and then then it shows all this like other stuff. It's like, oh, okay, well now you know why you're getting divorced, blah blah blah. So it almost confirms it, right? But So that doesn't help the situation. Then with the divorce too, you don't know how much controlling shares his wife is going to have, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, we'll see. I mean, it could be done here. I mean, this might not be like a wave for a triangle. It could be just like the start of maybe a B of a wave B of a corrective pattern that's getting ready to impulse down, right? So, but in general, that's how I like to trade this. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it could just, completely plummet. Even if it comes up here, like, and then spikes and hits, I would imagine the highest it could get is at 1700, 1725 level, and then a huge reversal I think is in store. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm rooting for you on that one, definitely. Hopefully this just keeps going down. Shirley, what's going on? Good to see you. Hope you had a great weekend. Kyle, what's going on? Okay, so how does major news such as Amazon affect your Elliott wave outlook? Do you just take a step back and wait? Yeah, it just depends where you are, right? I mean, a lot of times the best part about news with technical analysis is that when the news confirms your trend, right? When it confirms what you're working on, right? And so that's the best, especially like intraday. I've seen it, numerous times. I wish I could go back and right now and show you, but maybe I can. But like the day that Tesla, where he announced that he was going private, whatever day that was that back here? No, it wasn't July. Y'all have to. Was it July? Was it that far back? Goodness gracious, it might have been. Yeah, I feel like it was at 8.6 area, but if I could show you the technicals, I was staring at the stock right at the time when that came out. And the first thing, I mean, let me see if I could pull back on that real quick. Let's go on the hourly to show you what I was looking at the time. Time frame. What are we doing? 6 months. Now let's go 80s. Let's go 60s. That's kind of crazy. It's back here, right? Here? Was that the day? Let's see if I can zoom in on that. When I was staring at this when this happened, it was pretty colossal too. Oh, these are after hours. It was whatever day he announced it. I can't remember if it was this day, but all I remember is that this doesn't look quite right, but the technicals were looking good, and I really think this is it, because it got held and then it pushed. I'm pretty sure this is the day, but anyway, it was like basically, it was over the VWAP, and it was working on a hammer, and then the news came out that he was getting an investment from Saudi Arabia, and I'm pretty sure this was about then. And then right there when it breaks like this, kind of reversal bar to the upside, it just kind of launched, right? And then it went inside 60, right? And then, actually, this is not showing it right, because let me take the. I think it'll be better if I do. Why does this have? Hold on one second, guys. Wait. I never do pre-market on these, so that's the problem. Yeah, why is it not? Oh, because I reset everything. Here we go. Where was it? There. Yeah, that was it. I'm pretty sure that was it. Yeah, inside 60, right? And then over the VWAP, that break there was perfect, right? And then he came out and said he was taking it private, and then it was like an inside 60, and then it launched again. I mean, it was just so that's the point, is that when you're trading the technicals, right? Sometimes news, like, it's like kind of cooked into the technicals, right? That's one of the definitions of price action. And so so when we see that, that just helps confirm our trends, right? So really, for the most part with Elliott Wave, yeah, I mean, if news comes out and, and you're caught on the other side of it, and you had your count wrong, all it does is prove you had your count wrong, right? And so, when it goes counter to what you had. So yeah, at that point, you want to step aside and be like, okay, let me reevaluate what happened, right? But for the most part, it should, if you're right, if you're accurate, it should move with the trend. it should move with, the news should break with the technicals. And so, for the most part. So, and that's usually the best part, is because it confirms where you're at. So if it confirms where you're at, then you definitely want to stay in it, right? And just bank, because those are the best when news comes out, when you've got a good position. Let's see. So Chris, what's going on, man? IWM, let's take a look. So IWM, let me hold the setup. Let's go there. I think I might have just crashed Thinkorswim. Hold on. I was trying to pull up my workspace, so I crashed Thinkorswim. Goodness gracious. Oh, here we go. I think we're alive again, maybe? Okay, so we're live again here. All right, let's see. So let's pull this down. All right, so let's go IWM and just take a look at the different charts. Oh, yeah, August 7th. Oh, man. So let's see. Yeah, that was about right. I think we were on that day. All right, we've got... All right, so IWM, inside month, right? Green, but strong. Super weeks, right? I mean, hammer week followed by a nice continuation bar. I mean, just super bullish, right? It's almost like a three white soldiers type bar right there, right? I mean, it looks like it really could get up to that kind of Ichimoku cloud area. It's a mid Bollinger Band kind of corresponds with that too on the weekly. So I mean, if the market's strong, this thing could could push and get up there. So, but it's hard to see. You don't see too many big green bars in a row, so you would expect some sort of reversal at some point, right? And there was some consolidation here on the dailies, right? So, spinning top bar, a little bit of indecision here at the 50, kind of moving average, right? So, so we'll see how that handles tomorrow. And then the hourly too. So, you have a 60 anchor here, looks like inside bar here to close the day at the hourly upper Bollinger Band, right? So look at that as at your open to, try to trade against that. And then let's see, I haven't done an analysis on IWM yet. Oh, but I did do a pitchfork on it recently. And so let's see. So just kind of taking a look here. Had a nice breakout out of this pitchfork level. And so the real question is, is it going to come back in, or did it put in a V bottom, or is it going to? It's just hard to tell. So let's see if I just change that over here a little bit. Kind of gives you a new perspective, right? And that kind of encapsulates that whole level of that pitchfork. So this is kind of is a little bit better. And so let's see, right? So now it's especially if we know we're going to gap down tomorrow, it's possible it could pivot here, and then we could see back, to that median line. So definitely worth keeping an eye on. Are we still Winchu? What's going on? Are we still in wave 3 for Starbucks? Yes. So well, yeah, wave 3 of 5. At least that's where I think it is. So so it looks pretty good, right? So wave 5. We go back, daily chart here. In general, it looks like this subwave here of the larger time frame was 1, 2, nice gap up for 3, right? And then the pullback here for 4, and then working on completing this wave 5. So as we go in, right, the wave 4 correction looks like a flat 3, 3, 5. So ABC 3, ABC 3, and then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That doesn't overlap, and then 5. Okay, so we have wave 4 is done. Right, and then so we're looking to push up to this 5 level, and then what do we have? We had so we're gonna go impulsive, right? Because wave 4 correction is done, so we're gonna impulsive wave up. So we have wave 1 up, where it was sub 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we needed wave 2, which A, B. Remember, B's are triangles, ascending triangle, which is a very bullish triangle. But it's tough because where it was located, right? So at a wave B, yeah, even though this would be much more bullish, better if it were like a wave 4, but since a wave B, we need a C somewhere, right? And so the beauty of the whole thing is that Goldman Sachs gave us a C with their, their downgrade, even though it was lighthearted, right? So gave us our wave C, and now we're working on getting up to 5. So we have, all right, so C's done, so that's ABC, and so that's wave 2, subwave 2, and now we're working on subwave 3, right? So that's 1, 2, and then maybe possibly 1, 2, 3. And so yeah, so I think we're working on almost a double impulsive wave 3 up. And I'll look to start taking profits around 65, but I think it continues, right? Because we got nice volume at the end of the day, nice green bar, and I could see that getting follow through, even if the market's bad. I mean, in fact, if the market is a little bit bad tomorrow, that would just confirm, that would give us a wave 2 to the downside, and then it should launch at that point. So yeah, so it looks pretty good. YouTube account, what's going on? UNH and AMD. Let's check them out. United Healthcare. Well, that really did a lot recently, didn't it? Because we drew a pitchfork on this not too long ago, and but that's kind of odd. Yeah, just say like something like that. But it did pivot here, so let's just kind of move that here. Now it kind of gives us a little more perspective. Yeah, it looks like it was putting like a bit of a triangle. It's working on it. So it came up right about that halfway point, came down, pivoted, and it's kind of working its way up. So just see how it handles this, about the 250 level, and then if we can get through 250, it looks like it can get a little bit further up. It'll have a little volumetric resistance here at 253, and then should get to the median line here up at 260. So it looks like it's got some potential recovery type stuff going on. And then let's see what else we got. What was the other one? That's the only thing about these YouTube chats, is they're hard to scroll sometimes. And AMD, sorry, I should have known that. So AMD, I was like, I know I looked at this recently. All right, so AMD wave 1, and then it looked like a wave 2 ABC, wave 3 down. Then it looks like it's putting in some sort of funky corrective wave 4. So I'm saying like A, B, C maybe, right? W, right? And then we might get another A, B, C, X wave here. Then we might see another A, B, C up here. I mean, it might just kind of work its way up this channel here. Hard to say. I mean, I don't know what to expect on earnings with these guys. I mean, it might pop it up a little bit. I don't think it's gonna be crazy. So it's tough to say. But if it does pop it up, and then I would expect it to maybe reverse back a little bit, and then finally give us a wave 5 down. Yeah, it looks like it's doing a complex corrective phase here for wave 4. So let me move that over here and just say I don't know. But it's not obvious right now what it's doing. So yeah, I mean, you can do other stuff too. I mean, you can draw like a some sort of like trend line, here. Maybe it's kind of starting to break out a little bit, right? Type thing, it can work its way up. So I would like to draw some more reaction lines on it, to study it a little bit deeper now that these things have moved. But let's see. This kind of like a bigger kind of like head and shoulders type thing, but let me see. Let's get this. This looks interesting. Let's see. It's kind of a big area. Let's see how that works. So there we go. Sort of a reaction line there right into earnings. So tough to say. It might give you an earnings run, right? Get here and then go down, or it might give you an earnings run up here, get to the reaction line, have a great earnings, and then come back up, and then maybe this is some sort of like bigger, corrective pattern or something like that, or it's starting another impulsive wave up. So we'd have to reevaluate then. But in the meantime, the most accurate count looks like it's working on some sort of maybe double flat or triple flat or something like that to get for this corrective wave 4 before it decides which way it wants to go. What's going on, Modern Picasso? How are you? GPK. Does stocks really move accordingly? I'm new and trying to understand. Yeah, I mean, stocks can do. I mean, reality is, stocks can do whatever they want to at any time, right? And so, right, yeah. So, but the thing with so when we look at candlesticks, we use everything we look at, and we want to combine ideas. That's why I have all these indicators up here, and look at different time frames and look at different strategies, all the time, is because the more consistent things that we combine, the more it helps us get a higher probability of our trade working out, right? And so, so unfortunately, yeah, I mean, it would be cool if I could find something guaranteed, but I don't think anybody's ever found it, right? And so, yeah, but you just try to find as many consistent things as you can and line them all up. And once you get everything lined up and all your ducks in a row, then you trade what you had the highest probability of working out, right? So the thing with Elliott Wave is, like, as awesome as it is, and as the type of predictive power it can have is great, but if you get it wrong, the cop out or the fallout is that, like, it's like, oh, well, you just had your wave count wrong, right? And it's true, because, like, when you look at everything, you can break everything up into 3 and 5 waves and all that stuff. And so, if it did something, counter to what you were expecting, then the wave count was wrong, right? So we don't really know what the wave count is going to be until it actually happens, but we can use rules and guidelines to help us give us the best predictive power, right? And then when you can combine those with other tools, like buying something where the RSI is oversold, and combined with, like, being at the lower end of the Bollinger Band or something like that, can really give you some some more oomph to your trade. Go Cuddy, what's going on? Tesla. All right, so Tesla is really tough for me to do a count on. Because it's been in this sideways pattern for, it's been in the sideways pattern for, like, such a long time here that's, like, to even go through and try to put a count on this thing is just an exercise in futility, right? So we know that eventually Tesla's going to do something, but what it's going to do, we don't know quite yet. So I've got kind of these big blue lines here is kind of this megaphone formation, and it's kind of been in the upper end of this for a bit, so I took, like, a trend line here on these, and so now it's kind of staying in this upper range of this megaphone. And I've got a few pitchforks on here as well. It's just tough because news always comes out on Tesla, or something new happens very often on it, and it pushes it in one way or another, or the CEO does something non-standard, right? So but right now, I mean, it looks like it's looking pretty positive, right? It's tested the top end here of the pitchfork, came back in, hung out around the median line. Now it's kind of getting through a bunch of, these are old orbs that we did, when new news came out, and it's kind of working its way up this reaction line. So I could definitely see it getting up to, this 375 area, relatively shortly, as long as the market doesn't, pull everything back in, or, the CEO doesn't do something crazy. But yeah, it looks like it's working its way up. And Amazon, absolutely. I think we took a look at it a little bit earlier. And so here, yeah, we did. We just looked at it. So we looked at it on the Ichimoku, where it's at. I kind of have the count here a little bit better. It came down. So this impulsive wave moved down here, basically hit this intersection point of 2 reaction lines, right in the kind of the range of 2 different pitchfork areas, right? And then it just climbed up this reaction line all the way up. So I have to assume with this triangle here that it's probably a wave 4. And so, however you want to count it, but it could be like 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it looks like it could do another 5 up here to touch the top end of this. So, but if news is bad on it, we could say that maybe this wasn't a triangle. Maybe it was like, just an ABC, and then it finished a small wave, a truncated wave 5 here, and then it worked its way down, right? So you just kind of go with what you got to work with. And so, but if it does only come down a little bit, anytime a triangle overshoots to the side that you weren't thinking, and then it turns out it was right, then you usually get a bigger push to the upside, right? So you can see here, this is the opposite. It was kind of this triangle we were working on here. It broke to the upside. We were expecting it to go down, and then after that happened, it went way down, right? So here, if we break to the downside, we might get a big push up. So we just have to see. Just have to see what it does. No problem, Matt. Hey, man, that's awesome, man. I'm glad I can help. Trades Kumar, what's going on? So Apple, BA, UNH. I think, didn't we just look at UNH a little bit ago? Yes, we looked at UNH. So Apple and Boeing. So Apple's kind of fun looking. It's got these crazy 2 moves, right? Gapping up, gap down and up, right? So push up here, and then boom, there, and then back up. So what that leads me to believe is that, this is, somebody said bear flag, and it definitely looks like it's bear flagging too. But what leads me to believe here is on this count is we've been working on this kind of wave 5 down. At least I think we are. Then if this were wave 4, then this is like sort of 1 2. It looks like it's sort of a 1 2 1 2 1 2. You know what I mean? So this could really be impulsive down. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised either. If earnings were bad and all that stuff, they've been struggling, but we'll keep an eye on it. It looks interesting though. It kind of worked up. It worked up a reaction line here, came down, worked up a reaction line here. So like my guess is like maybe another push down. But if we get into this pitchfork again, it could push its way up, and we'll just do a recount on that. But the very interesting part of that is the obviously we're inside month, inside week, which is significant, and then double inside day, which is very significant. We've got a strategy on that, right? So with the double inside day, that could a push to the upside or a push to the downside, and then trigger the inside week up or down, right? So that could give us some real move. Now, I mean, chances are it gaps down tomorrow, so we'll look and see what it does, if it wants to reclaim that whole range or if it rejects it and then pushes it back down. So we'll take a look at that. And Boeing. Yeah, so Boeing, big reversal this month, right? But still inside. Worked its way up through this cloud, right? So had that hammer week, took that to the upside. Now it's broken through the cloud here, right, on the weekly. So this is very strong, right? It's very bullish. It's over the Bollinger Band too. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a little bit of consolidation this week, and then eventually another push to the upside, possibly to correspond with earnings at the end of the month, right? Even on the daily, it broke through its cloud too. Nice consolidation here. So very, very, very strong. And then if you like trading intraday, you can use that inside 60 anchor, for your for guidance during the day. And so here, yeah, it broke out of this this pitchfork, so we just got to see what it's got left in it, right? So before it looked like one A, B, C, 2, then kind of looked like it was going to push down, but unlike the rest of the market, it kind of got contained by that, and so it's really possible that this was maybe 1 and it's working on some sort of super corrective move down. It might be an expanded flat, or something like that. But at this point, looking pretty bullish still. Hey, what's going on, Velocity? Good to see you. Just let's see. Using weekly open close high low for alerts. That's right. That's good. Yep. Look at daily before. Yep. You got to look at all of them, man. It really helps because then you can get like those what do I call it? Cascading or chain reaction. A chain reaction off of it. So that's definitely helpful. Go Kitty. You gotta switch to yeah. They said it below. You gotta switch to a higher resolution. So I'm sorry that you saw some blurriness there. It stinks. I thought it was mine. I really did. And then people were saying they could see it just fine with the higher resolution. Good, Steve. Glad that's helpful. Go ahead. No, good. Okay, good. Glad you got that. Brandon. All right, cool. All right, let's see. So we got UAL. I think UAL was like an inside something. Let's take a look. Airlines are looking pretty interesting. Yeah, UAL is inside day. So keep an eye on that. If it breaks to the upside, right? So it's got a couple of these resistance levels, right? It's got your moving averages, the Bollinger Band, right? But if we can get up to the 50-day, that corresponds to the cloud on the daily. Week, a little bit of an outside, kind of engulfing week. I mean, it just looks generally pretty weak. So if it does break to the downside, I would at least expect it to retest that 77 level. And let's see how it looks. See if we can draw a pitchfork on it. We'll go with that for now, right? Staying below this median line, and potential shot to the downside. If it takes that inside day down, maybe it'll see not only 77, but maybe it'll see down to like 73 before it pivots again. And let's see, Baba. Yeah. So potential 2B reversal here. 2B reversal basically, or a W bottom, you just call it, whatever you want to call it. So basically, you look at your bar. It was really quick here, but you look at your bar that goes there, you cross through it, you go long, you put your stop at the bottom of the bar that broke through the earlier lower bar, if that makes sense. And then so basically, if this is the low bar, right, you look for the bar that pierced that low bar, which would have been this one, and then you go long when it breaks the top of that one with a stop here. Did that, and it's up like 3, 4, 5 bars, and it's consolidating at that point. Um, all in all, starting to look pretty bullish. Had a hammer, came up. It did get a little bit rejected by the mid BB, which is pointing down. It's trying to get through this sort of consolidating pattern here in the cloud. Inside day followed by a spinning top, and it really needs to get above this 155 before it can really start pushing again. And it looks like you had like an inside 60 at the close too. But yeah, overall it looks pretty bullish. Looks like it keep working its way up. So let's trade news is good. Here, yeah, I mean, crazy looking chart on the weekly. I like this push up though. This looks like a 1-2, and then it looks like, and then it's kind of in this channel, this volumetric channel here too. So just see if we can kind of push up, get over 18. If we can get over 18, it might get up into the 20s again. So that's looking pretty good. JD, stock everybody loves to short. Let's see, how's that looking? I mean, it's still kind of doing stuff. This is a real tough one to trade. It's just kind of consolidating here. It's kind of coming back down, and maybe eventually it'll work its way and fill a couple of these gaps here. I don't know. Earnings coming out. Maybe they'll have stellar earnings. So we'll have to look at that one. Momo has been interesting. I think it gave us like a double inside day the other day. Wasn't it on our list? Something was on our list with it. Gave some sort of inside day. Maybe it was like an inside week or something like that. So anyway, you had an inside day back here. Breaks out the upside, give you a hammer, spinning top, larger spinning top. Now it's starting to test, right? You can see it's starting to test downside moves right at the upper Bollinger Band. So just got to watch here. I mean, this could be a nice reversal hammer potentially and give you another upside. But if it breaks to the downside there, if it breaks 26, you could see, further downside movement on that one. Yeah, man, my pleasure. Skyburst, hello. Honor Picasso. Oh yeah. Citibank has got earnings tomorrow. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, see, little tough little guy to trade because it gets kind of range bound, but yeah, looking very interesting. Definitely looking interesting. So I would like to trade this. What time are they coming out with earnings? Oh, before the market, even better. So that'll be on the 15 orb list for tomorrow for sure. So let me put PCG, Amazon, and then of course Citi. That looks good. Good. Yeah, but that'll definitely give us a start to the week. It'll give us some clues. Nike, yeah, of course. So I've got a short position on it for the $550,000 challenge. Here's one that I'm hoping goes down with, is gapping down with the whole market too, which would be great. But from what I can count, it is it's working on it. So I saw wave 1 down here, ABC wave 2, right, and then was basically looking here for like if this is wave 2, right, this is sort of what I was expecting or talking about with the SPX. You kind of come down here, then it's working on a wave, 3 of 3 to push down. So that's kind of what I was saying. It's starting to look like it's rolling over. I've got a real tight stop on it, but if it pushes, I'd like to see it get back into this pitchfork level and then ultimately get down to 66. Let's see how it looks on I think it gave us an inside day too. So I'd like to see an inside day break to the downside, just keep pushing here, get through the bottom of that bearish looking cloud and stay bearish, right? So that's how I'm feeling on Nike. Honor Picasso, you got McDonald's 160s. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think it could push to the downside eventually, and I think January is a good idea because it's going to do it eventually. And that's smarter probably than what I was doing. I don't know why I took the 18s, but I just thought I was going to move faster than that. But it's cool. No, I get you. Yeah, those calls are cheap though. Go to 7th August. Nice. Funding secured. That's right. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. All right. CBL221. How do you set it just to the left or right arrows to move between chart time frames on TOS? Hold on, let me reread this. How do you set it to just use left or right arrows? Oh. So you create a grid line, right? So you create grids, and then you can do as many charts as you want. I just do like these. Top ones I do is candlestick charts, and bottom ones are bar charts. The top ones I use, the cloud and Bollinger Band type stuff. The bottom ones are pretty much just price for Elliott Wave, but I'll look at RSI and stuff like that on those. And then what you do is you link them with your. They should probably just come in. You should probably see like a chain right here. You link them all with the same color, and then once you do that, you can click through them all and just expand it right to the upside. And you can click through them that way. So, and then if you have multiple monitors, right, you can drag each one to a different monitor and use it that way. Can you split the screen to have multiple charts? Yeah, you can do that too. Exactly. No problem, Jeff. Yeah, my pleasure. Go Cody. Once you do that, you can use arrow smooth. Yep, exactly. And we did Nike, right? We just did Nike, so we're good there. Steve, Kevin, what's up? Have a good night, man. Appreciate you. CB. Yeah. Yeah, you just split the screen. You just all right. So you go here. So I just don't like because it always messes up my stuff. But you click here and you do restore cells on that little box right there, and then it puts it puts everything here. Then you can drag it. You can undock it, right? If you click left click on it here, you could do. There's a way to undock it, and you can move it around. But in general, that's how you can look at multiple charts and all that stuff. So if you had multiple screens, you could undock it and and pull it somewhere. I don't have multiple screens, so I've never done it, but I've been able to move it around before. So that's kind of how you split it, like that. And so I'll just go maximize at this point and bring it back. There's a way to do it. I just can't remember. I haven't messed with that. Like I said, detach. So you would detach it. It's gonna screw up my thing. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I've detached it, and I can. If I had multiple monitors, then I could drag that to another monitor, right? So, okay. Have a good night, Kevin. Yeah, man. Merritt, Nike. We looked at Tilray. Okay, so Tilray is interesting. Everybody's talking about it, right? It's got, I think, what is it, the 15th or something like that? They're releasing stock or something. So a bunch of people are thinking it's going to go down. Activist investor came out and said, like, oh, it's going to go up. We'll see. So what we know is inside month. The real trade that we missed, or I missed, was the double inside week. I don't know how I missed that. But you had double inside week, look what happened. It broke to the upside significantly, right? So that's why these double inside, inside weeks are pretty significant. And we see double, you're good, right? And so it broke there, and then it went from 177 all the way up to 104. Oh, totally missed it. So yeah, so at this point, it's like it's hard to say. I mean, it looks like it could have some more upside potential. I mean, not but it's got room to the upside and room to the downside if however the market wants to handle the release of it. So I think if it goes down, it could go down pretty good. If it goes up, it could go up pretty good. Like 50 points, it could go down 50 points. So is there? And then I count. If I can't even do a wave count on it, it's so crazy. So is there a grid icon next to it? Yep, that's it. Right. Good. Thanks. Go. Yep. No problem. Rookie BH. If there's a rug pull down this week, say Tuesday, Wednesday, how could the waves explain that in terms of wave levels and movements? So yeah, I mean, you go to just go to the SPX. I mean, I'm kind of expecting a rug pull, right? That's what I'm anticipating, right? So we've got a wave 4 already. Let's go here. Sorry, it's hard to do when I do when I share screen and I do all this, it messes it up a little bit. But when I've got this here, right? So the wave count right now, a rug pull would be perfect, right? Because I'm expecting this wave 4 to end before it hits that 2603.54. So this can truly be a wave 4, and then if there's a rug pull, we're perfect, right? The real question is, what if it keeps going up? How does that affect our account? And then we got to wait and see, right? Because then at that point, we could go back here. You go back to the, what is it? The kind of daily, weekly cloud area. Right, if it keeps going up, maybe it goes up to that 2700 area and then reverse. And if it does that, then we're looking at a wave 3 of 3, and then we could get a huge push to the downside, right? And so it just opens up more possibilities, right? But right now our biggest possibility is what the waves are showing, right? That this is still a wave 4 potential, but it needs to hurry and move. And if the futures do push this down and we gap down and keep going, and there is a rug pull, then it's perfect. Then our wave count stays intact. If that helps. Bofangle, hey, my pleasure. Shirley, DBD. Shirley, I meant to tell you there was some insider selling on, I think Allison, ALSN, some insider sales, and there was another one I saw something come through on it too, a couple million shares by executives. So DBD, Diebold, it's staying in this, it's really staying in this this volumetric channel right here, but it does look like it, put in a something of a bottom. So we'll have to look and see how that behaves here. It would make sense for it to bounce here, right? Because that's what this volume level. Lots of key support there. Let's see how that looks on the weekly. I can't even go back that far right now. So yeah, big support there. So lots of volume coming in. So if we can get over this level, we can get over $5. I feel like it can go. Fill this gap even at $10. So how it's going to do it, I don't know, but we'll see. All right, let's see what we got. Shirley, we've got. only is this just alphabetical? We're not going into like the Y's and Z's. All right, let me go through these. With all respect, let me go through them as quickly as I can. So all right, so ALOY. Too funny. All right, ALY looks like it could be putting in. This could have been like a a 1 and then some crazy correction here, 2 and then maybe 3, maybe 4. It looks like it's going to go back down, and it's right at volumetric support. How's that? Yeah, definitely looks bearish. Plus it's Ally Financial. AMAT. That's looking interesting. Needs to get through that level, right? That 35, and he's definitely going to get through there. If it does, it could push, right? That 35.50. If you can get through there, you've got some clear, some little air pocket to get through on that. So that's looking okay. AMBA. Same volumetric channel, nice pivot right here. So it looks like it could get up back to that 56 area. AMKR. Potential 2B bottom, right? 2B reversal right here. So this could give you some good upside. Nice volumetric gap right there. So it looks pretty strong on that one. ASHR. Same, reversing right here. 25 is first target. If we can blast through that, then it could get up to 31 pretty quickly. ASNA. Very similar. Right now, that huge, that red kind of resistance is now support, and definitely could see some more upside potential. $8 potentially pretty soon. Okay, AVGR. This looks really rough. This is one of those ones where you just Hail Mary it and see, this a very, very penny stock, right? So if you can get very interesting, right? It might be worth just buy 1,000 shares of it, just see what happens, right? AXL. AXL. Let's see how it handles this as potential, this 1430 area. See if that stays as resistance and then comes back down. If it gets through it, you can get back in this channel. You probably chop and then maybe go back up a little bit. BBBY. Nice breakout through that. Wait, right? Yeah. So had pretty decent earnings the other day. So this would be good to look at on the just be good to track here. Nice gap up after earnings. Just got to see if it can hold on to that. Does look overbought at this point, so it might come back in. Tough to tell at this point. So on that one, but just keep an eye on it. You can watch the orbs on it at the opens. If they want to step in and buy it, they can. BBVA. Right, nice tap there at that 499. Kind of work its way up. It's really tough to do with these, kind of little gaps that it has all over the place. But it looks like it could be. Looks like it could be bullish. So just let it kind of see. It looks like it would drift up if anything. BDJ. Nice reversal right there. That looks real nice. So just be careful though. Right, this high right here. So this is your wave 1, ABC 2, 3. This could be 4. Actually, it can't be 4 if that were 1 because that's crossing it. So just be careful how it handles this sort of resistance level at 8.4. If that gets rejected, it could push down really a lot farther. So now if it gets through it, maybe this wave count is wrong. Maybe this is wave 1, 2, 3. This was your 4. That's 5. And then and now it's just kind of working on a new trend to the upside. So these type of quick reversals are tough, but I feel like it would correct at some point, maybe around that 840 level. Bid. Sotheby's. Interesting. Yeah, got through some resistance right here. Just looks like it consolidate. Probably do like sort of mirror image type thing, kind of work its way up. Just watch. Looks like it could drift up to 46. BKI. BKI. Black Knight. Yeah. You can definitely see that this is resistance right here. It's starting to poke through it. So if you get another couple of up days on this, look for it filling the gap at 48. BPR. BPR. Nice. This is more of your cup and handle type style. Kind of cup here. Kind of consolidating, and then then look for another push again, of course. BPY. Same as the last one. BW. That's interesting. Penny stock. So yeah, might try if we can get over $1. Might get a little push. That looks interesting. Babcock and Wilcox. I think I know who that is. I've seen them somewhere. Yeah. I know who they are. I just don't know who they are. BX. Very similar chart setups on these. Maybe 1, ABC 2. 1, 2. I just feel like this is 1, 2, and then it's going to push back down. So we'll see how it does on earnings. I feel like this is going to push back down. So it's BX. Okay. CCS. Big push up. Hanging right there on that volumetric resistance. So if you see a big green bar up, I would look to go long. If you see a big red bar down, I would look to go down on this one because it's right at that key level. It's real solid, area. Calm. Yeah, just be careful here. It looks like it's run into some resistance. Caught. Same as 2 ago. So right here, major resistance. You need a nice green bar to give you some push up here to the 16 level. CPRX. Good. This looks bullish. So it looks like you can get look for a break. And give you some upside push. CPRX, CRTO. Yeah, it's pivoting right here, at resistance, so, some downside movement potential. CS. Interesting. So same resistance. Need to see a green bar, and then you can look to work on these pivots. XLP. Instruction stables. 1 ABC, 2, 3, 4. I'm looking. It looks down to me. QQQ. I think we obviously I tweeted that out earlier, but this one's trading a little bit differently. It needs to pivot, and looks like we are going to pivot tomorrow with this this potential gap down. So if it does get weak here, I'd like to see it back down to 155. CSLT. Castlight. Okay, cool. Similar to the other ones. Looks like it's going to push up a little bit, at least to the 275. Cuz. What's up, Cuz? Strong. Looks like it's going to start going after pivots. Looking good. CVEO. Strong. CY. Just go for pivots on the last one. CY. Less strong, right? Looks like we've pitchforked this one before. Looks like it's pivoting right here at this median line. Looks like it could come back down and retest the 12 level. DFRG. DFRG. Del Fresco. Oh yeah. Lots of support down here. It looks like it's trying. It looks like if anything, it might drift up here back to 960. You just kind of see how it handles that level too. D now. Let's see. Looks lower to me. Just in general, looks like it's working on a lower, type thing. Let me see. I mean, it could try. It's got a bunch of, if it does, to see how it handles, kind of this 14 level. If you can get through that 1450, 1460, then you could definitely see a push up to 16 on it. And then DRQ. Very similar setups on a lot of these. These kind of, and we're seeing that a lot too. We're seeing a lot of reversals recently. So the question is, you got to look at is when you start looking at these, where do we start, right? And where is it, right? So this is like some sort of like 1, extended 2, 3. This could be 4, and then lower. So it might come up to this 39, and then give you a wave 5 lower. And DRQ. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. Thanks again. Yeah, no problem, Harvey. My pleasure. Surely, these are different way I put in the chat. Okay, cool. The patterns, cool. Good. All right, guys. That looks like it. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. It's late, so it's time for bed. And I hope everybody has a good night and a good trading day tomorrow. And I'll put the game plan out, and then I'll keep everybody updated on where we're at with the $550,000 challenge. So have an awesome night, and I will see you guys on Twitter tomorrow. All right, have a good one.